Hi friends, it's Mimi, and for today's projects we're going to be working on my entryway garden. I've been slowly working on transforming the landscapes around our home, and the entryway has been one of those spots that never quite felt finished. So today I'm going to be adding a few more plants to the garden. I'll be explaining which varieties I'm using and why these varieties work in our Florida heat and humidity. If you guys enjoy plants as much as I do, please like and subscribe to this video. You guys, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the things that we have planted in this bed. It's drizzling a little bit here, but we're just going to go ahead and go with it. First thing we have here is my fall planter, and this planter has a Wicked Witch coleus in it, and it also has some white sun patience. The white looks wonderful with my house, which is really blue. Then we have these Sanchesias, and I'm going to show you a video how these guys just sway with the wind. I mean, you can kind of see it here. They are beautiful plants. Okay, back here, you're going to be able to see these are shell gingers, and they can get quite tall, probably around, I'll have to put the stats on the screen for their height. But they can get quite tall, but mostly what they do is just give you a lower level of fullness. These are ixoras. I'm going to be removing these ixoras, although they're really pretty and they give a little bit of formality. This area, I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for this to be a formal space. I'm looking for this to be more of a lush, tropical space. So these are not getting enough sunlight here. This bed gets a little bit of morning sun, but throughout the day it's mostly shaded. This is the north side of the house. So we're going to be removing these, not today because I don't know exactly where I'm going to be putting them yet, and I don't want to take them out without having a spot for them, but we're going to be removing these eventually. Next we have the white bird of paradise. This is going to give our bed a little bit of height, and this planted in another section of my garden. And this plant is huge. I mean, it would be past the roof top here. So over time, this plant is going to get really, really big. And it just repeated on the other side. We have another shell ginger. At the end of this section of the bed, we have dwarf alocasias. Okay, this giant plant here is a Song of India, and this plant has to be over 10 years old to be this size because they grow slowly, and but I can't I would never take this plant out because of how mature it is and the contrast that it gives to the house. I mean, it's a very pretty tree. All right, right next to our huge Song of India, we have juniper and some heliconias in the back. The bed goes on to the side of the house. This area here was here with the previous owners, and right here I just took out a plumeria that was really diseased and it needed to go. There was also some palms in here that, I mean, they were basically planted inside of the Song of India. This area here is kind of barren. You can kind of see big spots, just juniper. I think eventually I am going to remove all of this juniper because the weeds will grow inside the juniper. I don't really like sticking my hand inside of the plant to pull the weeds. First, I'm scared of snakes, so that, and also when you stick your hand in there, they poke your hands. So I don't really like that too much. So we're probably going to remove this, but we're not going to do that today. So as you can see, my house is rather long and low to the ground. We don't really have any height like a gable or anything like that on the house. My house is a typical Florida ranch style house. So in order to create some depth and dimension to the house, we need to add some height to the beds. As you can see here, the plants that are in the beds right now are mostly mid-level plants. You could see here with the Sanchesia and the shell ginger, and the alocasia, they're all really relatively low to the ground. We do have some height, but it's not really there yet with this bird of paradise and with the Song of India. And in the future, we're going to add more height that goes over top of the roof by adding foxtail palms. So those are going to go on the corners of the house, but for right now we're not going to plant those because we don't have them, but we're going to add the first step. So to fix the problem that we're having with breaking up the length of the house and adding a little bit more height to the bed, what we're going to need to do is add in some taller plants, because what we're missing in this garden bed is plants that are going to give us height. When we add those plants to the bed, it's going to break up the length of the house. We're also going to lengthen the bed by adding some structure, and we're going to finish it off by planting some grasses at the edge so that we can have a clean tropical look. Before we get started on the types of plants that we have, what are your favorite plants for your entryway garden? I'd love to know. Leave them in the comments below. We're going to start here with our first plant, which is the Thai quarterline plants. This variety here is the anti-loop. These plants can take partial to full sun. Their burgundy color just makes them stunners in any garden. All right, the next plant that we have is the cordboard plant. This plant is named cordboard plant because of the texture of the leaves. Feel almost like cardboard. We're going to move on to our last plant that we have that we're going to be adding to the bed, and this plant is latrobe. This is a very tough plant. These plants have been actually in their containers for about a month now, and they still, while you can see some browning on the leaves, they are doing fabulous. And the reason why I went with latrobe is because it gives a nice clean look without being too formal. Like a boxwood would look very formal, but latrobe grasses, they'll move with the wind and they look very tropical. So it's going to give us a nice clean border without being formal. Before I start digging, I just want to place the plants where they're going to go. This helps me visualize. I'm a very visual person, so I need to visualize where the plants are going to go. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the plants and I'm going to put them in their spaces. And then after that, we can move them around if we need to, just to give us the visual that we want before committing to putting them into the ground. All right, let me get started. Okay, I'm gonna move this one over this way a little bit. And I'm trying to be careful not to break any of my other plants that are in the area. Oh no, I don't like that. Okay. Maybe like that. Yeah, that looks a little bit better there. Okay, now let's move the next plant. This is actually the best time for us to put plants in the ground because it's not so hot. All right, this plant is another Thai. Sisters. And we're going to place her back here, just in the center. She's flapping around. That's okay. I'm going to get her in the ground, get her stabilized. I like it. I like it right there. It's perfect right there. All right, this one's going to be a little bit more challenging because it's very heavy. Look at it, how already the plant here has given us this pop of color where you could see between these two. This is yellow and this is burgundy. What a stunner. I mean, I told you guys, this plant gives you an instant wow factor wherever you put it. And it's an amazing plant for our Florida gardens. All right, I wasn't gonna do it. I was gonna be a little lazy, but I'm gonna do it because I want you guys to see it before we have everything planted in the ground. All the existing plants are on drip system, and I can show you guys a little bit more about that later on. But so everything is going to be watered automatically. This is going to be a no fuss bed. And let's turn it so you can see. No, that's not going to be the way. I think this is a much better way. Yeah, I love it. Just like that. Let me check, step away and see. Yeah, that looks amazing. We're going to add, oh, this pot is so heavy. You have to be a little careful because there is spikes on the plant. That is exactly what we needed in this area. A little bit of structure, a little bit of texture. It just holds firm while everything else might be flowy, like the songs of India. You could see like it just moves with the wind. But the cardboard plant is just gonna stay here. There's nothing gonna move this plant. Let's get started by setting up the latrobe in the area. I'm gonna fix my birds. Well, I probably fix my birds at the end. So we'll want to start them very close. We're gonna plant these very close so that it gives us instant impact. What do you guys think? Would you have added the quarter line for height here, or is there something else that you would have included in this bed that would have given us the height and the color and the different textures? Let me know in the comments below. This is exactly what I was looking for. This breaks up the length of the house where it just doesn't look like one long house. It gives you interest all along and textures. Like, look at the different texture with the grasses compared to the tropical bounciness of the Sanchisia. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna start planting them out. I'm gonna start planting it all out. I think we're gonna start by planting out the cardboard plant, and yeah, let's get started. What I'm going to use today is some fertilizer, an auger, and a shovel. So we're going to use the auger for our latrobe, but the other things that I'm just going to dig with the shovel. I apologize for my hair, but this is South Florida and the humidity is always at 100%. So, all right, let's get this planted. It might be really tough here to get this in the ground because the roots, there's roots everywhere in this area. Pull the plant out of its pot. And I'm going to use the pot to backfill. fertilizer to the planting hole. See its roots here? Very good and rooted in the pot. Make sure we're putting it in the right way. Now I'm just going to backfill the area. Alright you guys, we got this one in the ground. This plant I'm not going to put on drip or anything like that because after it's established, it's very drought tolerant. It does not like a lot of water. So we're just going to leave this one here and we're not going to add drip to it. It will be perfectly fine with the rains of South Florida. We get a lot of rain and that will sufficiently water the plant. I mean, if you look at the sky now, always a little rainy. What I think we're going to do is we're going to plant in next quarterline plant. So I'm just going to move it out of my way. I'm going to try to do this without making a mess or disturbing my other plants. Oh, perfect. Perfection. Okay, I just want to make sure that we have everything centered how we want it. You can see that the plant is planted a little high above the ground, and that's totally fine to mount it up like that. No plants were harmed in the making of this video. Let's hopefully we can keep it that way. When you're backfilling, just make sure roots are touching the soil, not air. But you don't want to kill off the roots. And I wish I could show you this part, but I cannot because it's so tight back here. But all I'm doing is backfilling the area. All right, so let's put our little one in the back here. It won't take us very long, and I can actually show you what's going on. We got rained out yesterday, and so today we're going to continue to get these plants in the ground and finish up what we started. So all we have left today is get the latropes in the ground and got to get this last quarter line in, and then we'll be done buttoning up the entire front entryway. I'm loving how it's looking so far. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below so that I can continue doing content like this for you guys. Alright, so let's get the latrope in the ground. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but latrope, it doesn't need any type of special fertilizers or anything like that. It's a very tough, hardy grass. It's tough. So, let's see if we can get this. Oh yeah, I love this. So we're just gonna get them in the ground. And I know that they're dying to get in here, get into the ground because it's been a while for them in their cans, and And they are ready. The last one, you guys. The last one. Woo! All right, that's fun. So nice. Oh, what I do now is get this mess cleaned up. Ow! Sliced my finger. Oh. So our next step, what we're going to do is water everything in, and we need to get everything watered in before the sun starts really coming out, because these are newly planted into the ground. So I'm going to get the hose. And here's how everything turned out. guys, that about sums up our project for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this type of content, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.